Walters Mowing LLC here. In this video, I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of being a solo operator and also having help as well. But from time to time, I'll be both. I'll be a solo operator for the day or have help for the day. It just depends. But anyways, I'll start off with kind of the pros and cons of the solo operator. So one of the main pros is you're by yourself. You can make your own schedule on how you want to do stuff today. So that day you decide, if some reason you want to cut the day early or stuff like that, you can do that. You can just make your own schedule. You can take your break when you want to. Well, for me personally, I usually don't eat really that much during the day when I'm working. When I'm busy, when I eat is when I'm bored. So that's kind of my aspect of it. But for when you have help, you kind of have to. I mean, you try to make sure they eat. Make sure they're stuff like that. You got to keep an eye on it. And then also when you're doing the jobs, Mo, you're basically just relying on your work yourself, so you know what get hits and what doesn't get hit. Whenever especially when you're having to train somebody new, the bad part about it is you got to make sure you got to only do your stuff and kind of keep an eye on your stuff on stuff. But also you have to kind of sometimes walk back to the yard to make sure it looks good. It's up to your standards and stuff like that. But also another con is you can only do so many yards in one day. And you can, especially if you're working full time and you're doing this on the side like I am, you can only do so many yards in one day. And you can only do so much in one day, and that's the kind of the con of it. But it's also you by yourself. You're I guess your own thoughts. You can listen to music. Do your own thing. That's kind of the one of the kind of the pros to it. The con, like I said, is just you basically just you can only do so much in one day, and also takes you longer to do the yards as well. That's one of the cons of it, but I mean, it's part of it. So the pros to having help is you can do more yards. You should be able to do double your yards in one day. So let's say you're only able to do say 12 yards or 10 to 12 yards in one day. You can do 20 in one day. Now, for example, for me, I'll use a kind of example like so when I go to Shell Knob to mow my yards, let's say usually on average I'm doing about 10 to 12 a day down there. When I have help, now if you have help that is pretty reliable and you guys get into a good system, especially after you get them trained and stuff like that, you can really run efficiently and run really fast and still do a great job on the yards, great quality work. So, example for me, so usually if I'm by myself in Shell Knob, it'll take me I'll probably run until about 4 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock, and I'll be done. For example, whenever I have one of the people that help me out quite a bit, we'll get done like by like 1 o'clock. We'll be done for the day. Because usually I make Sheldon up come its own day because it's about an hour drive there, an hour drive back. But I have a lot of accounts down there, so it kind of just that's why I'm staying down there. But anyways, that's kind of the pro of that. You get done faster. The con is, of course, you have the employee cost of the pay for the day, and also for me, sometimes I'll buy lunch, stuff like that. So you have to add on the employee, the labor cost, a little more of the labor cost on the expenses, so you don't profit as much for the day. But I mean, that's kind of that's kind of the way in there on that. But also one of the pros, if you do have help, let's say you do hire help and you have help every day, you're able to grow the business more. You're able to grow more. Like with being solo operator, you can only grow so much. Now, if I ever do decide to go full time with the business, which is a long term goal of mine, if I can be able to do it eventually, would be to just you can only grow so much being solo. If you have help, you can widen your horizon. I see these YouTube people or just in general lawn care people. They have 200-300 customers, 300 accounts, which of course they have several crews out there doing it. Now to me, personally for me, there's the whole standard of 2-man crew, a 3-man crew. To me, unless a 3-man crew, there's only certain yards like 3-man crew would really be efficient to me. That's that personally for me. 2-man crew to me is probably is the more efficient one. 3-man crew, unless you're mowing like I say, unless you're mowing like really huge yards that take, let's say on one mower it takes you 2 or 3 hours to mow it with one mower, and there's a whole lot of weed eating going with it. They didn't have a 3-man crew on that one. Possibly would be okay. But I mean, it just depends day in and day out. It just really depends. I mean, on certain yards. But to me, 2-man crew would be better if you start when you need to hire help. A 2-man crew would be probably to me is more efficient. But those are kind of the pros and cons of having being a solo operator and having help. So I mean, you kind of one of those things you can, but with having help, you got to kind of compensate, try to make sure you have enough work to have the help to kind of compensate to make up for it. So that's kind of the thing. But I mean, it just depends on your preference. I mean, I like both aspects. Some days I want to just do myself, be a solo operator myself, and then some days I don't want the help, or I want the help. I mean, now sometimes when you get used to the help, you have the help, and then you go back to being solo operator. You're like, man, I really wish I had the extra hand today. So it's kind of what your preference is. I mean, I like both aspects of it. Some days I prefer just to be by myself, live by myself, and go about my day and do it, get done, and then it's kind of my personal perspective. Well, I like both of them, but anyways, mowing season is already underway for me. Kind of just one or two here and there, but once I get really into the full season, kind of mowing, my normal yards per day, I'll start posting more videos. And I know most people don't like watching the same yards every single day, so I'm probably going to do just 1 or 2 yards per day so I can kind of spread out a little bit more. So certain yards I'll video on what they look like and kind of explain how I came into get this account, especially the ones I really kind of want to go over is like how I got some of the business accounts and how I quote them and stuff like that. But anyways, well, whatever time it is, have a good day, have a good night. But anyways, hope like and follow, please, like and subscribe. Uh, really trying to get better at doing these videos. But anyways, thank you guys.